From Puri to Puri Dator. Captain Maya Chen stared at the peculiar satellite debris scattered across the laboratory table. After 6 months of tracking an anomalous signal in Earth's orbit, her team had finally managed to capture what they initially believed was space junk. What they found instead sent chills down her spine. "It's not one of ours," she muttered, examining the impossibly thin circuitry embedded in what appeared to be a self-repairing polymer. "And it's definitely not Russian or Chinese." Dr. Aidan Foster, the team's xenotechnology specialist, looked up from his microscope. "Maya, this thing has been watching us. The optical components suggest it's been cataloging Earth's defense systems for at least a decade." Before they could process the implications, every communication device in the facility activated simultaneously. The screens displayed the same message in perfect English. "Greetings, Earth. The Galactic Council welcomes you to the interstellar community. Prepare for diplomatic contact." 3 days later, the massive council vessel entered Earth's atmosphere with theatrical splendor, broadcasting messages of peace and cooperation. The ship, nearly 2 kilometers long, hovered above the United Nations headquarters in New York, its surface shifting colors like an iridescent beetle shell. The council representatives called themselves the VOF. They stood nearly 8 feet tall with elongated limbs and skin that resembled polished marble with subtle blue veining. Their leader, High Ambassador Tehran, addressed the hastily assembled world leaders with practiced charm. "We have observed your remarkable species for generations," Tehran announced, his voice melodic and soothing. "The Council has voted unanimously to welcome Earth as a protectorate world, offering you technology, medicine, and protection in exchange for resource sharing and cultural exchange." Most world leaders were entranced by the promises of advanced technology. Captain Chen, now serving on the newly formed First Contact Commission, wasn't convinced. "They knew our languages perfectly before arriving," she whispered to General William Harris during a private moment. "Their surveillance was extensive. Why watch us secretly for so long if their intentions are benevolent?" "Keep those thoughts quiet for now," Harris replied, glancing around for listening devices. "But start putting together a team you trust." Off the books. The negotiations proceeded rapidly. The VOF promised miracle cures for cancer, unlimited clean energy, and FTL travel technology. In exchange, they requested mining rights in uninhabited regions and permission to establish research outposts around the globe. Most failed to notice how the VOF delegates stiffened slightly whenever humans proposed modifications to their agreements, or how they deflected questions about other species in the Council, or why they insisted on keeping their ship specifications classified. Chen's clandestine team worked tirelessly, analyzing every interaction with the aliens. Dr. Layla Nasser, a linguistic expert, discovered subtle discrepancies in the VOF's speech patterns. "They're using language to manipulate," she explained in the underground facility Chen had established. "Their sentence structures contain embedded psychological triggers designed to induce compliance. It's masterfully done." 2 months into negotiations, Chen's team intercepted an encrypted transmission from the VOF ship to somewhere beyond the solar system. The message took weeks to decode, but what they discovered confirmed their worst fears. Earth classification: Resource World Type A indigenous species, technically capable but psychologically malleable. Resistance capacity: minimal. Recommended approach: diplomatic subterfuge followed by standard extraction protocol. Chen presented the evidence to a select group of military and scientific leaders from nations around the world. "They're not here as allies," she concluded. "Earth is just another conquest. Their Galactic Council is nothing more than an interstellar resource extraction corporation." The room erupted into arguments about how to proceed. Some believed confrontation would be suicide against such advanced technology. Others demanded immediate military action. "We can't match their technology directly," Chen interrupted. "But they've underestimated us. That's our advantage." Operation Shadowfall was born that night, a global initiative combining the best minds and resources from every nation. The Voth would continue to believe their deception was working while humanity secretly prepared for resistance. For the next 4 months, scientific teams reverse-engineered what little alien technology they could access. Military forces trained in new tactics designed specifically for the expected invasion. Underground facilities were expanded to house civilians and serve as bases for the resistance. The first sign that the Voth had discovered humanity's preparations came when several key scientists disappeared. Then military installations began reporting unidentified aircraft violating their airspace. The diplomatic tone of the aliens shifted subtly from partnership to paternalism. "We've detected concerning military activities," Tehran announced during a global broadcast. "For Earth's protection, the Council will temporarily assume security oversight for your planet." Within hours, smaller Voth ships deployed around major cities worldwide. When several nations launched fighter jets in response, the aliens demonstrated their technological superiority. The jets' electronics failed mid-flight, sending them crashing into unpopulated areas, a calculated show of force with minimal casualties. "This is a Class 3 security intervention," Tehran explained, his voice now stripped of its earlier warmth. "Earth will benefit from Council guidance. Resistance will only delay your inevitable integration." The occupation began methodically. Voth forces disabled global communications and established extraction operations in resource-rich regions. Humans who resisted disappeared. Those who cooperated received basic provisions and were assigned to labor divisions based on their skills and physical capabilities. What the Voth didn't realize was that Operation Shadowfall had anticipated this phase. Chen's team had developed communication systems using principles the aliens weren't monitoring. Resistance cells activated worldwide, following predetermined protocols. Dr. Foster made the first breakthrough 3 weeks into the occupation. Studying a damaged Voth weapon, he discovered a fundamental flaw in their energy modulation systems. Their technology relies on quantum field manipulation, he explained to Chen in their hidden base beneath the Rocky Mountains. But they've optimized everything for efficiency rather than adaptability. There's a resonance frequency that disrupts their entire system. "Can we weaponize it?" Chen asked. Foster smiled for the first time since the occupation began. "We already have. The prototypes are ready for testing." Meanwhile, in occupied territories, the resistance employed psychological warfare. The Voth, accustomed to species that broke quickly under domination, grew increasingly frustrated by human unpredictability. Extraction operations would run smoothly one day, then face inexplicable equipment failures the next. Cooperative workers would suddenly disappear, only to be replaced by resistance infiltrators gathering intelligence. 6 months into the occupation, the Council sent reinforcements. 3 massive harvester ships entered Earth's atmosphere, each capable of processing entire mountain ranges for minerals within days. The sight of these behemoths was meant to crush human spirits. Instead, it accelerated Chen's timetable. "They're getting desperate," she told the Resistance Leadership Council. "Their quarterly resource quotas must be falling short. This is exactly the moment we've been waiting for." In labs around the world, human scientists had been perfecting hybrid weapons combining Earth technology with reverse-engineered alien principles. The results were weapons unlike anything the Voth had encountered, cruder than their elegant systems, but unpredictable and devastating in their effectiveness. The Resistance had also discovered a critical vulnerability. The Voth, believing humans to be technologically primitive, had implemented only standard security protocols in their systems. They never imagined humans could decrypt their communications or access their networks. "The harvesters have minimal defenses," reported Jae-hoon Park, the Resistance's chief hacker. "They never expected to be attacked once deployed. Their shields only activate when their sensors detect Council-registered weapons." Chen looked around the room at the faces of humanity's best minds and bravest fighters. "Then it's time. Activate Operation Phoenix. All cells worldwide commence countdown." As the massive harvesters began carving into Earth's surface, Humanity prepared to demonstrate exactly why underestimating humans was the Galactic Council's greatest mistake. Humanity's HFY, the harvester over what had once been the Brazilian rainforest, was the first to fall. Resistance fighters using hastily modified railguns fired projectiles that the Voth sensors didn't register as weapons. The unshielded harvester's primary propulsion system ruptured, sending the massive ship listing to one side before crashing into uninhabited terrain. Within the next hour, similar attacks disabled harvesters worldwide. The Voth responded with confusion, then rage. Their tactical doctrine had no contingency for a supposedly subjugated species mounting effective counterattacks. Captain Chen, monitoring from the Resistance headquarters, allowed herself a small smile as reports flooded in. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Phase 2 was more audacious. For months, Resistance cells had been planting EMP devices modified with Dr. Foster's resonance technology near Voth command centers. When activated simultaneously, they created a cascading failure across the aliens' communication network. High Ambassador Tehran, now military governor of Earth, found himself suddenly cut off from his forces. The elegant Voth command structure, designed for perfect coordination, collapsed into chaos when its components couldn't communicate. How is this possible? Tehran demanded, his marble-like skin flushing dark blue with anger. They're primitives. Their technology was centuries behind ours. His aide, visibly trembling, delivered more bad news. Sir, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from multiple human population centers. They don't match any known weapons profile. What the Voth couldn't comprehend was humanity's greatest strength, adaptation through adversity. While the Council species had evolved through steady technological progression over millennia, humans had developed through crisis and innovation. The Resistance hadn't simply copied Voth technology. They'd reimagined it based on Earth principles. Dr. Nasser had led the development of acoustic disruptors that exploited the Voth's sensitive auditory systems. Professor Takahashi's team had created electromagnetic pulses specifically calibrated to the aliens' neural patterns. Each weapon targeted biological or technological vulnerabilities the Voth had never needed to defend against. They're retreating to defensible positions, reported General Harris, now Chen's second-in-command. Orbital scans show their ships consolidating around major command centers. Chen nodded. They're following standard military doctrine. Regroup, establish communications, then counterattack. Exactly as expected. Launch Operation Phoenix Phase 3. Phase 3 revealed humanity's most shocking achievement. From hidden underground hangars emerged aircraft unlike anything seen before on Earth, hybrid vessels combining human engineering with principles derived from studying Voth technology. They weren't as elegant or advanced as alien ships, but they were piloted by humans who had spent their lives adapting to chaotic conditions. Major Sofia Rodriguez led the first squadron against the Voth Command Center in former Mexico City. Her voice was calm over the Resistance network as she reported, "Approaching target. No indication they've detected us. Their sensors are still calibrated to identify their own technology signatures." The hybrid fighters struck with devastating precision. Where Voth pilots relied on automated systems and predictive algorithms, human pilots improvised and adapted mid-battle. The aliens' superior technology couldn't compensate for the humans' unpredictable tactics. Across the globe, the pattern repeated. Voth forces, accustomed to technological superiority ensuring victory, found themselves outmaneuvered by inferior technology wielded with superior creativity. Chen watched the tactical display as liberation forces reclaimed city after city. Begin Final Phase. The culmination of Operation Phoenix targeted the Voth flagship in orbit, the command vessel of the entire occupation force. While ground battles raged, Dr. Foster's team had been modifying a pre-invasion space shuttle with reverse-engineered Voth drive systems. Shuttle Phoenix approaching orbital insertion, came the calm voice of Commander Diana Okafor. No indication of detection. Their orbital defenses are focused on potential threats from the ground. The shuttle, appearing as space debris to Voth sensors, docked with the flagship using access codes extracted from captured command centers. The boarding team, led by Chen herself, encountered minimal resistance. The Voth had never conceived of humans reaching orbit during an occupation. When Chen entered the flagship's command center, High Ambassador Tehran stared in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. "A common misconception about my species." Chen replied, weapon trained steadily on the alien. "We specialize in making the impossible happen." Within 48 hours, the occupation forces were in full retreat. The remaining Voth ships flood Earth's orbit, but not before Chen's team had extracted the flagship's complete database, including the locations of every Council outpost and facility in the sector, communication protocols, and most crucially, the identities of other species subjugated by the Council. 3 months later, humanity launched its counteroffensive. The first human interstellar fleet departed Earth orbit, led by the rechristened Voth flagship, now named HS Phoenix. Captain Chen stood on the bridge, watching Earth recede on the view screen. "Fleet reports ready, Captain," announced Commander Harris. The Galactic Council believed they found a helpless resource world. Chen addressed her crew. Instead, they awakened a species that has survived and thrived through countless existential threats. "Our mission is not just retribution, but liberation." The fleet's first target was Proxima Centauri, where intelligence indicated another species called the Kaveri were being exploited by the Council. The human fleet arrived to find a mining operation where the insectoid Kaveri labored under Voth overseers. The liberation took less than a day. The Voth, never expecting an attack from what they considered a defeated world, had minimal defenses. When the dust settled, Chen addressed the Kaveri representatives. "We come not as conquerors, but as allies," she explained. "Earth knows what it means to face the Council's protection. We offer a genuine alliance instead." The Kaveri weren't the only species eager to overthrow Council rule. As Earth's fleet moved through the sector, they discovered dozens of worlds in various stages of exploitation. Some had been under Council control for centuries, their native populations reduced to serving as labor forces for resource extraction. Each liberated world joined what became known as the Terran Alliance, a coalition founded on mutual respect rather than exploitation. Unlike the Council's hierarchical structure, the Alliance operated on principles of shared defense and cooperative development. 6 years after the Voth's first arrival on Earth, Captain Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood in the Alliance chamber on the neutral world of Kaveri Prime. Representatives from 27 formerly subjugated species gathered to ratify the Alliance Charter. The Council believed their technological advantage made them invincible. Chen addressed the assembly. They failed to understand that true advancement comes not from technology alone, but from the principles that guide its use. The species gathered here today have suffered under Council exploitation, but together, we've demonstrated that diversity of thought and approach creates strength no single methodology can overcome. As the charter was signed, the latest intelligence reports arrived from the front lines. The Galactic Council, facing unprecedented resistance from the growing alliance, had begun to fracture. Several Council species had broken away, seeking to join the new interstellar order that humanity had catalyzed. The revolution that began with a single captured surveillance satellite had transformed into a galactic realignment. Earth, once targeted for its resources, had instead contributed something far more valuable to the interstellar community, a reminder that the most dangerous force in the universe is a species that refuses to surrender, that adapts rather than breaks, and that transforms adversity into opportunity. The Council had expected to find a primitive world ripe for exploitation. Instead, they had awakened humanity's defining trait, the relentless drive not just to survive, but to thrive against all odds. And now that humanity had reached the stars, the galaxy would never be the same.